Hello, beautiful human. This is your new earth energy update. Whenever it finds you, is probably the most relevant time for you to listen to this update. If we're looking back on what's been happening, it's likely that you've had a lot of heartache, a lot of sort of like sadness and downtime in the last week. Maybe you've also felt a little bit under weather or just sick for some other reason where your body wasn't working to the capacity that you used to. It's very likely that those things came very unexpectedly, very unexplainably. So there is this kind of energy of sudden shift, and that may have put you out of this sort of like what's going on, like out of your certainty, and also into a place of doubting yourself. And this is maybe you finding yourself doubting your past decisions, doubting your capacity for strength, doubting your value, whatever it may be for you, that you're doubting yourself, doubting your purpose, um, doubting what you set your goals for, etc. And you may be finding yourself in this sort of like a very down place of, am I even good? Right? Something related to maybe your throat chakra, where it feels like it's closing off, and the sense of retrieval, going back. Maybe not. Maybe that's not the right choice that I made for myself. So this is really important. If this is happening for you, what I also want to bring your awareness to and see if this is something that resonates is that it's very, very likely that you also can notice that those inner conversations, uh, criticism, self-doubt, etc., that inner dialogue may not even be originated in you. It's maybe something that you've adopted from somebody in your life who had a strong presence. They may not be in your life anymore, they may have passed away, whatever, you've separated, but they had such a strong influence on you, as usually, right, when you were growing up. So there's this intergenerational theme that's happening, where you are basically what's happening is that you are splitting your identity. You're coming into the new state of identity, new state of being, and on this new earth transition that we are happening, that we are creating, that is happening, it doesn't come in one leap, right? It comes in this sort of like growth period. So there is a growth, then there is adaptation to the new size that you've created, this new identity, then there is a new growth. And now as we are moving through time, this changes and growths happen much faster, and they will continue to amplify and intensify. So what is happening is that the old identity is breaking free to come into a new size, new shape, new understanding of itself. And the old identity is very much associated with that person or people whom I was describing as this having this sort of like down energy, because the programs that you've taken from them, they have worked for them, they have worked for the times that they were alive, but those programs don't work for you anymore. And that's why there is this inner conflict, and that's why there is this sadness, or whatever pain that you may be experiencing. So there is a program, there is a belief, there is a story that you say about yourself that is not true for you, and it is meant to be shifted. You meant to free yourself from this sort of self understanding. That's how identity is shifting, right? It takes about 6 months for an identity to shift. But what happens is that you have to understand that those backgrounds, those stories about yourself that you are saying, those sort of like beliefs, or when you say I am just like that, well, you're not just like that, but that's an identity that you are put in, and it's up to you to work through releasing that identity and taking a bigger space, taking a new one. So this is where I think a lot of us may be finding ourselves in this sort of shift where there's this dream, and then at the same time there's this doubt that this dream is realistic, that it even makes sense, that that maybe even that I want it, maybe I don't even want it, right? So things like this. And the point is that the contradiction happens because there's strong programs that are running you that are not even yours. And so there's this process of release and of healing. And how does healing happen is that we feel those old programs by witnessing them, yet not really identifying with them. We just witness them. We witness that pain that our ancestors lived, that life is difficult, so we feel it, we witness it. But at the same time, later on, we shift to the belief that we want to hold something like it may be that easy. This is just an example, right? And again, what they had in their life and the life that they lived and the rules that they lived by were valid for them. They were important for them. And in ancestral or intergenerational healing work, we do a lot of that kind of work where we, at the same time as we are splitting from old programs, we are not separating from the lineage itself, because lineage is where the resource is coming from for this life. It's literally for us to survive, we need to connect to our lineage and both sides of our family. So but we need to understand where those stories that they were holding on, those programs, those rules, they just no longer relevant for this time. And because we live in such a amplified transition time, a lot of those stories are dropping off. A lot of those beliefs and understanding what the world is just not relevant for us. So this is my update for you. I hope this gave you some sort of clarity, some sort of peace in your heart, and also brought you back into your power, because you certainly need power in these times of transition, because change is inevitable and it's just amplifying. And having a flexible mind will require a lot of inner power. So much love to you, and I'll talk to you whenever I talk to you. Bye now.